You have been misreading your entire life as a sequence of disconnected accidents, and that misreading is costing you the only thing that matters, the ability to navigate your own evolution. Not next year, not next decade. Right now, in 2026, the density of so-called coincidences has reached a threshold where continuing to call them random is no longer ignorance, it is an active choice to stay blind. You know the moments I mean. The job offer that arrived the day after you whispered a desperate prayer for change. The stranger who quoted a line from your favorite novel while you were thinking about exactly that passage. The repeated number that flickers on a clock when you are standing at an emotional crossroads. If you have ever felt a quiet jolt of recognition in these intersections, a sense that something is speaking to you through the arrangement of events, then you already suspect the truth. This video is not about belief. It is about building a decoder, a psychological operating system that transforms chaos into map, projection into precision, and paralysis into directed movement. By the time we finish, you will understand why traditional probability has collapsed under the weight of this specific year, what precise mechanism Jung discovered and then hid in plain sight, how to tell a genuine destiny signal from the noise of your own desires, and a step-by-step practice that turns every random encounter into a steering command from the deepest layer of your psyche. Do not watch this casually. Watch it like someone who has been sleepwalking and just realized the alarm has been ringing for months. I want to open with a story that is not in any textbook. A man in his early 40s, let us call him Daniel, spent the first half of 2026 in a state of quiet desperation. His career felt hollow. His primary relationship had become a functional arrangement. Every morning he woke with a sense that his life was happening to him, not from him. One Tuesday in March, he sat in his car before a meeting and said aloud, to no one in particular, "If I am supposed to leave, show me a wolf." He had no reason for this word. He had not thought about wolves in years. That evening, a colleague he rarely spoke to forwarded him an article titled, "The Lone Wolf's Guide to Rebuilding." The next morning, a billboard for a wildlife documentary displayed the face of a wolf with the tagline, "Find Your Pack." Within 48 hours, a childhood friend he had not seen in 2 decades sent him a photograph from a trip to Yellowstone, standing next to a wolf statue. With the message, "This made me think of you." 3 events, each causally unconnected to the others, clustering around a symbol he had consciously invoked. The logical mind might call it a fluke. Depth psychology calls it a synchronistic cascade. Daniel resigned from his job 6 weeks later, not because the wolf told him to, but because the pattern woke him up to a decision his unconscious had already made. The external world did not push him. It reflected him. That is what we are about to decode. Chapter 1, the statistical eclipse. Before we enter the architecture of meaning, we must dismantle the wall that keeps most people trapped in the old paradigm. The wall is built from a single assumption, that events are separate, that your inner thoughts and outer occurrences operate in different dimensions, occasionally colliding, but without any structural connection. Probability theory reinforces this. It treats every coincidence as a discrete, mathematically unremarkable blip in a universe of random noise. In a low-complexity environment, that might hold, but we are no longer in a low-complexity environment. The year 2026 is not like 1996, or even 2016. The informational ecosystem we inhabit, algorithmic feeds that mirror unspoken fears, global neural networks that collapse distance into instantaneous resonance, a collective psyche that is processing archetypal upheavals at scale, has created a condition where inner and outer are no longer separable. When you think of a specific person and their name surfaces on your screen within seconds, the old explanation you were primed to notice It fails to account for the fact that the name appeared without your prompting. The phone did not read your mind. The field in which both you and the phone exist responded to a charge. Carl Jung did not have algorithms, but he had clinical genius. He watched patients in Zurich encounter symbols in the external world that matched the symbols emerging in their dreams, with a precision that violated any reasonable standard of chance. He gave this phenomenon a clinical name: synchronicity, and a causal connecting principle. The term acausal is the key. It does not mean uncaused. It means not caused by the push-pull of material mechanics. A billboard does not change because your psyche sends a signal through the air. Yet the billboard displays an image that corresponds to your deepest inner content at the exact moment you drive past it. The connection is not in space-time mechanics. It is in meaning. Meaning, Jung argued, is its own organizing force, just as real as gravity. In a hyper-connected year like this one, meaning organizes events at a density that makes the old probability models look like a child's drawing of a hurricane. The statistical comfort zone is gone, and that is terrifying to the rational mind, but it is also the only honest starting point for a conversation that matters. So the first shift you must make is this: stop using coincidence as a wastebasket category for anything your current model cannot explain. When you file a life-pivoting event under weird timing, you shut down the conversation your psyche is trying to have with you. And in 2026, that conversation is not a gentle murmur. It is a corrective intervention. People are leaving marriages, relocating across continents, abandoning careers, and building new identities not because a guru told them to, but because the pattern of causal events became so loud that ignoring it would have required a kind of psychological self-mutilation. Now, before we move into the mechanics, I want to plant a question that should sit with you through the rest of this script. If the boundary between your mind and your environment is far thinner than you have been taught, what responsibility does that place on you? Not guilt, not superstition, but the responsibility to clean your internal signal so that the external reflection becomes clear rather than chaotic. Because as we will see in the next chapter, a distorted psyche produces a distorted reality, and the architecture of that distortion is precise, measurable, and reversible. Chapter 2, The Mirror Architecture of Meaning. Let us get mechanical. How exactly does an inner state become an outer event? I am going to walk you through a 3-tier model that replaces the simplistic idea of manifestation with a psychologically rigorous framework. Tier 1, the perceptual filter. Your conscious mind receives millions of sensory inputs per second and discards almost all of them. What it keeps is determined by your current emotional charge. If you are angry, you will notice aggressions everywhere. If you are grieving, you will notice loss imagery. This is well established in cognitive science. But here is the twist that depth psychology adds. The filter is not just selective, it is magnetic. When you carry a strong, unresolved emotional complex, you do not simply notice matching stimuli, you draw them into your experience. A man who secretly believes he is unworthy of love will not only perceive rejection, he will, through micro-behaviors he does not consciously control, elicit rejection from partners who would otherwise have stayed. The internal state organizes the external field through 1,000 invisible adjustments. This is the first layer of the acausal principle. The psyche projects a template, and the environment clothes it in flesh. Tier 2, the transpersonal substrate. Beyond the personal unconscious lies what Jung called the collective unconscious, a shared reservoir of archetypal patterns, images, and narratives that shape human experience across cultures and eras. When an individual psyche activates an archetypal content, the mother, the trickster, the death-rebirth cycle, that activation does not stay inside. It resonates. It communicates laterally with other minds and symbol systems. In a world knit together by digital immediacy, this resonance amplifies. You dream of a serpent, and within hours, 3 unrelated people send you serpent imagery in memes, articles, or conversation. The serpent is not a personal quirk. It is a transpersonal symbol of transformation that is currently active in the collective field because humanity is collectively shedding an old skin. You are not special for seeing snakes. You are tuned in. Tier 3. The temporal collapse. This is the most radical element, and the one most people reject until they experience it. In a causal events, time does not behave linearly. The synchronistic event often arrives before the conscious recognition of the need. A woman decides on a Tuesday to leave her corporate job and pursue a healing profession. On Monday, the day before the conscious decision, she receives an unsolicited invitation to attend a workshop on exactly that topic from a friend she has not spoken to in a year. The external event preceded the internal decision in clock time, yet the internal decision was already formed in the unconscious. The unconscious, Jung argued, operates outside temporal sequence. It sends the signal outward, and the outer world answers before the ego catches up. This is why following synchronicities often feels like falling forward into a future that already exists. You are not creating the path. You are remembering it. These 3 tiers, perceptual magnetism, transpersonal resonance, and temporal nonlinearity together, explain why your environment has been behaving more like a dream than a machine in 2026. The question now is how to read that dream without falling into projection. And that brings us to the framework that will either save you years of confusion or, if ignored, entangle you deeper in illusion. Chapter 3, The 5 Gates of Discernment. Most people never move past Gate 1. They receive a coincidence, feel a thrill, and either dismiss it or over-mythologize it. I am going to give you 5 criteria, 5 gates that a signal must pass through before you act on it. If you learn nothing else from this video, learn these. They will function as a diagnostic tool for the rest of your life. Gate 1. The somatic marker. The body knows before the brain. When a coincidence carries genuine significance, it registers physically. Not as excitement. Excitement can be projection. Look for a specific sensation, a stilling, a subtle warmth or coolness in the chest, a feeling of spaciousness behind the eyes, a softening in the belly. This is the autonomic nervous system responding to coherence. If the coincidence produces tightness, racing thoughts, or a compulsion to act immediately, that is the signature of anxiety, not guidance. Train yourself to pause and scan your body before interpreting. Ask, what is the physical tone of this moment? A true signal feels like homecoming. A projection feels like a chase. Gate 2, the contextual dovetail. A symbol is meaningless in isolation. A hawk flying overhead while you are thinking about a business decision could be a sign, or it could just be a hawk. The dovetail is the specific fit between the symbol and the active psychological content. What was the exact question, feeling, or dilemma that occupied your mind in the seconds before the event? The tighter the thematic lock, the higher the probability of signal. If you were genuinely wrestling with the question, should I take the risk, and you see a hawk, a predator that risks every dive, the lock is tight. If you were thinking about what to cook for dinner, and the hawk appears, there is no dovetail. Record both the inner state and the outer event with precision, and look for the seam. Gate 3. The reiteration criterion. A single coincidence is a maybe, a pattern of 3 or more iterations within a compressed time frame. Using different vehicles, a number that appears in a receipt, then in an address, then in a timestamp crosses the threshold from chance to communication. The psyche does not whisper once, it knocks repeatedly. Set a personal rule. Never overhaul your life based on a single event. Wait for the cluster. The cluster is the universe's way of saying, I am serious. Gate 4, the consequential proof. A true synchronistic signal, when followed, produces movement. If you act on what you believe is guidance and nothing changes, no door opens, no resistance dissolves, no insight deepens, then the interpretation was likely noise. Signal is generative. It rearranges reality in some measurable way, even if only internally at first. If you followed the thread and found only dead air, go back to Gate 1 and re-examine your somatic state. You may have been chasing a projection. Gate 5. The archetypal integrity. Some symbols are personal, some are collective. A personal symbol, your grandmother's name, your childhood street. A specific song that only you and an ex-partner shared carries weight for you alone. But when a symbol is archetypal, its appearance signals something larger. The dying king, the abandoned child, the wise old figure, the great flood. If you are repeatedly encountering archetypal imagery in dreams and waking life, it is not about your to-do list. It is about the mythic layer of your life that is demanding renegotiation. In 2026, the collective is saturated with death-rebirth symbolism, because civilization itself is in that passage. Your personal coincidences are often participating in that larger pattern. Recognizing this prevents you from privatizing what is actually a collective signal. Let me give you a practical example of the 5 gates in action. A woman notices the number 1111 repeatedly. Gate 1. She feels a quiet exhilaration, not a frantic need to decode. Gate 2. The number appears each time she is thinking about leaving her marriage. Gate 3. It occurs on license plates, receipts, phone batteries, and a hotel room number within 1 week. Gate 4, when she finally voices her truth, her husband admits he has been feeling the same estrangement, and they begin an honest separation that relieves years of pressure. Movement occurs. Gate 5. 1111 in many esoteric traditions represents a portal, an initiation into new selfhood, which aligns with the archetypal death-rebirth pattern. By these 5 gates, the signal is clear. Had any gate failed, she would have paused and waited. This is not superstition. It is diagnostic rigor. Now, here is the question you must hold. If you subjected your last 3 significant coincidences to these 5 gates, how many would survive? And what does that tell you about the quality of your listening? Chapter 4, the deep surrender to non-causal intelligence. Surrender is a word that terrifies the modern mind because it has been confused with passivity, weakness, and giving up. I want to redefine it in operational terms. Surrender, in the context of synchronistic guidance, is the deliberate release of the need to dictate the specific form of an outcome while maintaining unwavering commitment to the underlying intention. The ego wants to script the entire movie. The psyche wants to give you the next scene and trust your performance. The friction between these two forces is the source of almost all existential anxiety. In 2026, that friction has become unbearable for many, and that is not a crisis, it is an initiation. What does active surrender look like on a Tuesday afternoon? It begins with what I call the oracle pause. When a synchronistic event registers a significant number, a thematically charged encounter, a dream fragment that then appears in waking life, you stop. You do not assign meaning instantly. You do not dismiss. You simply hold it in conscious suspension for a designated period. I recommend 60 seconds of silent acknowledgement. In that 60 seconds, you say internally, "I see this. I do not yet know what it means, but I am open to the meaning that is already forming beneath my awareness." This pause does two things. It prevents the ego from hijacking the signal with premature interpretation, and it allows the right hemisphere of the brain, the hemisphere that processes pattern, context, and gestalt, to begin its slower, more accurate integration. Next, you implement what I have called the dialogue of drift. This is a structured practice lasting 7 to 21 days, in which you consciously loosen your grip on planning and treat your environment as a responsive partner. You set a clear intention at the start, not a goal, but a quality. I intend to move toward greater creative sovereignty, or I intend to deepen my capacity for intimate truth. Then each day you note every unexpected event, every unbidden invitation, every thematic echo. You do not force connections. You simply collect data points. At the end of the drift period, you spread them out visually, on paper or screen, and ask, what is the central thread? Inevitably, a shape emerges that your linear planning mind could never have engineered. A woman I worked with set an intention for home, not knowing whether that meant a physical home, a relationship home, or an inner home. Over 14 days, she encountered 3 separate mentions of a specific city she had never considered, a real estate listing that a friend sent by mistake, and a sudden job opening in that very city. She moved within 2 months. Her rational mind would never have picked that city. The dialogue of drift placed her there with an elegance that felt orchestrated. But the resistance to surrender is real, and should be honored. The terrified inner protector will whisper, if you let go, everything will fall apart. Probe that fear. What is the everything that you fear collapsing? Often it is an identity built on control, a self that feels safe only when it is bracing against uncertainty. Yet that same bracing exhausts you, isolates you, and generates the very crises it seeks to avoid. I am not asking you to abandon discernment. I am asking you to shift your source of discernment from the anxious ego to the attuned whole self that can read the field. The ego navigates with a flashlight. The psyche navigates with satellite. Surrender is not turning off the light. It is acknowledging that the satellite has a broader view, and that your job is to learn its language. A critical nuance. Surrender without the 5 gates is dangerous. It becomes gullibility. So you hold both, radical openness to the causal dialogue, and ruthless discernment through the somatic, contextual, reiterative, consequential, and archetypal criteria. That pairing, surrender plus discernment, is the engine of what Jung called individuation, the lifelong process of becoming who you already are in potential. Chapter 5, the integration sequence. This is the section where knowledge becomes practice. I am going to give you a 4-part integration protocol that turns the theoretical framework into a daily discipline. Do it for 3 months, and you will not recognize your relationship to reality. Part 1. The Nightly Examen. Before sleep, when the conscious mind is softening, review the day through a synchronistic lens. Ask 3 questions. Question 1. What unexpected encounter or event occurred today? Question 2. What was the dominant internal state immediately prior? Question 3. If this event were a symbolic message from my deeper self, what would it be inviting? Write the answers in a dedicated notebook, not a notes app, but a physical journal. The hand-brain connection accesses different neural pathways. Keep the entries brief but precise. Over weeks, patterns become visible that the day-to-day mind would miss. Part 2. The Weekly Cartography. Every Sunday, review the week's entries and extract the meta-pattern. What symbols recur? What emotional tones dominate? What life area, career, relationships, creative expression, health keeps surfacing? You are not yet acting. You are mapping. Draw a simple wheel with spokes for each life area and note where the synchronicities cluster. This cartography will reveal the unconscious priorities that your conscious agenda has been ignoring. One client of mine discovered that every synchronistic signal pointed toward unexpressed grief, while her conscious plan was all about productivity optimization. The map does not lie. Part 3. The micro-response. After mapping, select one small, reversible action that honors the pattern. If the theme is voice, record a single voice note, sharing an opinion you have kept hidden. If the theme is rest, cancel one non-essential commitment and guard that time as sacred. The micro-response must be done within the following week. It must be small enough that failure is impossible, yet symbolically congruent. This builds trust with the unconscious. The unconscious is like a wild animal. It responds to consistency, not grand gestures. Micro-responses accumulate into a new behavioral baseline. Part 4. The monthly destiny audit. Once a month, look at the entire map and the actions taken. What has shifted? What synchronicities became full-blown life pivots? What projections were exposed as dead ends? This audit is not self-judgment, it is calibration. You are training your synchronistic literacy. Over 6 months, this practice will sharpen your ability to distinguish signal from noise so cleanly that you will wonder how you ever lived without it. I want to take a brief detour into the specific urgency of 2026. Why now? Because the collective psyche is undergoing a tectonic shift. The old structures, institutional trust, career identity, the social scripts of success are cracking. When the outer world destabilizes, the inner world intensifies its communication. The synchronicities are not a luxury. They are a navigation system for a dissolving map. People who refuse to learn this language will experience the coming years as a cascade of chaos. People who learn it will experience the same events as an intelligent initiation. The same wave drowns one and carries another. The difference is not luck. It is literacy. Conclusion: the final directive. I am not going to end with a soft platitude. I am going to end with a directive that will either lodge in your mind and become an irritant until you act on it, or will be forgotten by the time you hit the next video. The choice is yours, and that choice will echo through the rest of your life. Tonight, before your head touches the pillow, I want you to open a blank document or notebook, a clean page. At the top, write the date and the words, the signal I am refusing to acknowledge. Then, sit in the quiet for 3 minutes with your eyes closed. Let your mind drift. Notice what image, word, name, or memory surfaces first. Do not edit it. Do not judge its randomness. Write it down. Beneath it, write, if this were a doorway and not a decoration, what room would it open? Write the first answer. Do not cross it out. Do this for 5 consecutive nights. On the 6th day, read what you have written as if it were a letter from a wiser version of yourself who lives outside of time. I promise you, the shape of a message will already be visible. That shape is the beginning of your decoder. And once the decoder is active, the world stops being a series of random collisions and starts revealing itself as a living text written in a language you were born to read. The video ends here, but the conversation does not. The next coincidence is already forming around you, in this very moment, waiting for you to notice it not as an accident, but as an address.